Okay, now this is section 2 on Hinduism. And we started earlier talking about the 3 phases of Hinduism, which is the way of works, the way of knowledge, and the way of devotion. And now we're looking at the way of devotion, the way of devotion. Now, a second revolt took place 20 BC to AD 800, which was 1,000 years. And this is called the mid-season millennium, the mid-season millennium. Now, during this time, the Tamil poets spread the idea that moksha, moksha is the release from reincarnation, redemption from reincarnation. They said moksha can be found through a loving relationship with one God. They said not through the impossible way of works, with the Vedas and the caste system and all those things. And he said it's found through a loving relationship with one God, not the way of works, not the unobtainable secrets of the way of knowledge, which there are 330 million different gods and deities. But they said there was a new school of thought, and this school was called Bhakti, Bhakti, Bhakti Hinduism. Now, Bhakti means loving attachment. Bhakti says that the love of a god or goddess provides salvation to those who love him or her alone, not the 330 million different deities, but let's focus on one god or one deity. Bhakti Hinduism is the heart of most contemporary Hinduism today. Most Hindus today are part of Bhakti Hinduism. The masses of Hindus believe in the Trimurti. The Trimurti has is Brahman manifested in 3 gods. Brahman manifested in 3 gods. You have Brahman, you have Vishnu, and you have Shiva. And Brahman is the creator God. Brahman creates the universe. Vishnu is the preserver God. Vishnu preserves the universe as long as possible. And then Shiva destroys it when it becomes irreparable so a new universe can be made. So Brahman is the creator God. Vishnu is the preserver God. And then Shiva is the destroyer God that destroys the universe so a new universe can begin, can start all over again. And in Bhakti Hinduism, each male god is associated with a female deity or God's wife. And God's wife is called Shakti. Shakti means source of power. So every male god is associated with a female wife or Shakti. Shakti means source of power. And of the different gods, Brahman, the creator god, and then of course, as I said, there are different deities where a person can identify with a particular god. For example, Saravasti is a popular goddess. She's found in schools and is represented by musical instruments such as a sitar. She is the goddess of learning and arts. So the school kids could identify with Saravasti, the goddess of learning and arts. All right? Now, once again, of the Trimurti, Vishnu is another popular god. Vishnu can be recognized by 2 vertical lines in their foreheads that converge at the bridge of the nose. Vishnu is the preserver god. Vishnu's concern is to maintain dharma, D-H-A-R-M-A, You know, as a preserver, Vishnu wants to maintain Dharma. Dharma is the true way of the gods. Dharma, not karma. Karma is the law of cause and effect. All right? But karma is the law of consequence. But Dharma, D-H-A-R-M-A, is the true way of the gods. So Vishnu, the preserver god, their concern is to maintain Dharma. Now, Vishnu, the preserver god, has 10 incarnations. 10 incarnations. And you can see them on page 203. The 10 incarnations of Vishnu are called avatars. A-V-A-T-A-R-S. There's a popular movie out now called The Avatars. But you wonder, where do people get these names? Where do they get these ideas for the movies? Well, they get them from many times different religious experiences. So avatars originally in Hinduism practice are the 10 incarnations of Vishnu, the preserver god. And the avatars, Vishnu can be preserved, can be rebirthed or come into the world, are born as a heroic animal, a human hero. They'll be born into the world when the world gets out of sync to straighten everything out, and he eventually dies and returns when he is needed. And he may, be reincarnated as one of these 10 different avatars, an animal, a human being. And it is said that Buddha himself in Buddhism, Gautama Buddha, was actually a great teacher that was an avatar of Vishnu, that Buddha actually came to help preserve the world, all right, and get things in order. Another popular god was Lakshmi. Lakshmi is the goddess of fortune and beauty. Who do you think would be attracted to the goddess of fortune and beauty? Well, Lakshmi is popular among married women, right? The goddess of fortune and beauty. And one of the most popular Hindu gods is Krishna. Krishna is a profound teacher, a cow herder, a demon killer, and he's represented as colored either black or dark blue and plays a flute. So when we see Krishna, either black or dark blue, playing a flute as a profound teacher, a cow herder, or a demon killer, all right, that's Krishna. Now, in the United States of America in the 1960s, the Hare Krishna movement became popular in the U.S., and you would see the Hare Krishnas in different airports around the country. They have their robes on, they have the finger cymbals, the tambourines, and they sing and they would dance, sing the Hare Krishna song. And they were known not just by the robes and the singing and the dancing and the tambourines and the finger cymbals, but they had shaven heads with one ponytail on top. And that ponytail, they said, was for the rapture. God could reach down, grab him by the ponytail, and snatch him up into heaven. So those were the Hare Krishnas. And in the 1960s, the Hare Krishnas movement became popular in the USA. In fact, it was called ISKCON, Ishkan, I-S-K-C-O-N, Ishkan, which means, that's an acronym for the International Society of Krishna Consciousness. The International Society of Krishna Consciousness. It was founded by a retired pharmaceutical salesman. He was 70 years old, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Prabhupada. He was a Hindu, came to the U.S., founded the Hare Krishna movement in the 1960s, okay? And, of course, the process of discovering new deities in Hinduism is endless. As I said, there are over 330 million different gods, deities, and spirits in Hinduism, all right? And on page 207 in your textbook, we see there is nothing in life that has not been deified. Animals, objects, people, planets, food, work, life, death, spirits, the universe. Everything has been deified in Hinduism. Everything has a spirit, okay? So 330 different gods, deities, and spirits. Even the worship of cows. That's why you can't, eat a cow, because cows are reverenced. You ever heard the term holy cow or sacred cow? Well, that came through the experience of the religion of Hinduism, all right? Everything has been deified. Everything has a spirit. Don't step on a cockroach. You remember in, where was it? The movie Men in Black. And Will Smith was about to step on the cockroach, and he stepped on the cockroach, and the big giant cockroach from outer space got upset. Well, in Hinduism, everything is deified. That's one of my relatives. They could have lived bad in this life and come back as a cockroach. So I honor and reverence cockroaches and rats and different spirits. You may find a tree stump, where somebody cut down a tree stump, 3,000 people around that tree stump worshiping the tree stump. It has been deified in nature. Okay. Hindu temple worship. What about Hindu temple worship? Worship takes place in Hinduism either in the home or in the temple. In Hinduism, the statue is not just a visual representative of the spirit being. It is where the God lives. The statue is not the God, but the statue is considered the special abode of the God. So if there's a statue of a god or a deity, the statue is not the deity, but it is the house or the abode or the residence of the deity. The God will live inside the statue as long as he is properly cared for, washed, clothed, fed, and worshiped. See, thus, caring for the statue earns the favor of the gods. If I wash the statue, present an offering of fruit, of course, the statue can't eat the fruit, but I'm going to present the offering. I'm going to take care of this statue. It earns me favor with the gods. Now, there's another term in temple worship, Raja Gopuram. Raja Gopuram. A Raja Gopuram is a special house in the sanctuary of the temple for the main god or goddess in the temple. Now, in the temple is a small house or a place where the main god of the temple resides. Now, the temple service itself, we may say we're having a church service, a worship service. In Hinduism, the main service, worship service, the temple service is called the puja, P-U-J-A. Puja means sacrifice. There are scheduled daily pujas or services, morning, noon, and night. There are individual worship services, or there may be special celebrations in the temple. A daily puja, our daily sacrifice, a daily worship service, every day the statues are clean, decorated, and clothed. The Rajagopuram, or the main house for the main god, is covered with a decorated curtain. The worshipers wait in expectation as the musicians line up. When the priest and his assistants enter, the service begins. The essence of Brahman or God can be captured by the chanting. The chant is Om, 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 Om. Now, there's no meaning to the chant as a word. The meaning lies in the vibration of the sound. Om, Om. Along with the instruments, the Indian trumpet, the drums, the bells, the first statue worship is usually, I shared with you earlier about Ganesha, is the elephant-headed god. You see on page 204 in your book, that's Ganesha. Ganesha is the remover of obstacles. So when you go in to the puja, the sacrifice service, then you want to remove all obstacles. So you worship Ganesha, the remover of obstacles. Then the priest waves the incense in one hand, rings the bells in the other hand. Next is in the service, the main god in the Rajaga portion. The priest and his assistants appear behind the curtain. The music stops, the curtain is drawn open, and the priest stands before the god with a large Christmas tree-like candelabra. The music resumes, and the worshipers throw themselves prostrate to the ground before the statue of the main god. After the service to the main god, this procedure is repeated to all the gods in the temple. Now, when the entire process is done, the worshipers line up to pass their hands through the fire and have their foreheads mashed with ashes and flour paste. Now, this entire service that I described takes about 15 minutes. Individual worship is done also. Individual worship. A devotee enters the temple, leaving their shoes outside, careful not to step on the threshold. They ring a small bell to warn the spirits that I'm coming in. All right? They declare their concern to the priest. They pay a small fee to the priest. Then the priest performs a brief ceremony before their particular deity. There are moments of chanting takes place at the end of the worship. They're marked with flowers and ashes. Or it may conclude by the worshipers drinking a sip of holy water from a silver bowl with 2 miniature feet on the bottom. And then they invert that bowl on their head. Now, this is a ritual known as walking in the footsteps of God. All right? So, that kind of gives us an idea. In Hinduism, the temple is a busy place. Many times, people may come in. Each god has a special birthday, and people may come in to participate in that celebration. They decorate and even dress their god in classier clothes when they have such celebrations. They often celebrate by carrying the god around the temple area on a cart, pull their god on a cart throughout the village. All right? And so with that in mind, we've talked about Hinduism. Once again, brief review. 780 million Hindu in the world, about 910,000 Hindu in the U.S. To qualify as a Hindu, you must accept the Vedas, accept the caste system, accept the reverence of all the different gods, deities, levels of spirits, 330 million different gods, or the contemporary form of Hinduism, Bhakti Hinduism, which is a loving relationship of one God. You must accept the Vedas, the Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, Athava Veda, and don't forget about the caste system, the Brahmins, which are the priests and the scholars, Kshatriyas, warriors and rulers, Vaishyas, merchants and landowners, and the Shudras, who are the workers. All right? So that gives you a brief overview of Hinduism. Thank you. That ends this section.